making a video. Yeah, response to Nick. I guess I'll do the real quick part first, then Nick doesn't have to watch the rest of the video, but apparently wants a short answer to what I would call, well, ask a stupid question kind of a thing. Anyway, so I'm going to do the comments on this page anyway. I guess I should make them bigger. That would be helpful. Even bigger would be better. Anyway, so Modern Mystic's comment was, I think you should make a micro video saying a few words as possible by what you mean by I in the expression I am suffering. Okay. And I can't use me or my. Alright, so simply I would say this brain, right, which is known as Gary, which is distinguishable from the other brains, the 7 billion other human brains and the whatever it is, huge giant number of other mammalian brains. This one, known as Gary, in Mendum, yeah, produces the consciousness projection where suffering resides, or is incurring or experiencing. This brain is producing, there you go, this brain, known as Gary, in Mendum, is producing the phenomenon commonly known as suffering, or you could say commonly known as consciousness, and subsequently is suffering. There. No me's, no I's, no my, and no point. Yeah, I mean, there really isn't. We have an individual brain. You want to say we don't? Fine. I think it's crazy. We can isolate it. Isolate's the wrong word. We can understand it to have complexity distinctly different from the complexity in other regions of the universe. The complexity on the moon, for example, is nothing like the complexity of my brain. My brain creates phenomenon, the moon creates phenomenon, the moon creates gravity. My brain doesn't create much of that, but it does create consciousness. I mean, really, we can understand these distinctions, and they're really important because, unlike the moon, my brain is creating consciousness, and consciousness creates value. And that's the conversation I think people are trying to subvert. They just don't want to deal with that reality. So anyway, I guess I'll deal with these comments. This one was a good one. It got +3. The other ratings don't make any sense. But anyway, generalist guy. So he just basically says, fascinating dialogue, but certainly looks like we're never going to resolve this, argument. And then he does concede that for him, suffering has value and matters, has substance. A real illusion really can be real enough to fulfill the definition of real. So there we go. That's, he's basically pointing out my argument, and yeah, I agree. All right. This was a good comment, the Hanson6699 guy. I get it. We are the projection, not the projector. But again, I'm going to argue that depending on circumstance, two down ratings for that. No, I call that bullshit. Depending on the circumstance of the conversation, whether you're talking about the thing producing the consciousness, the programs that are the lizard, the ape, and the human that live inside of us, that exist inside of us, not live, exist. These sets of programs, the lizard, strangely, actually built probably the screen that we call consciousness, was part of that construction. He's built right into it, even, But the point is that they produce the consciousness, the effect. They write on it, so sometimes you can be talking about those programs and call that I, because that's really you. That's really the thing that makes you do everything you're doing, are those programs inside your brain. And they project onto consciousness, and the reason why they project onto consciousness is because they're using a feedback mechanism. They're writing and then reacting to what's written, and that's how it's working. It's just not that complicated. It's the infinite feedbacky thing, right? That's not going to work. Yeah. I have to do it with the screen. I can't do it now because I don't have it on. So anyway, yeah, so that's what's going on here. That's how the thing works, is through that feedback loop, and that feedback loop is the reason why there is a consciousness, and it's likely the reason why this consciousness is so conscious, is because of that. And it's completely coherent to circumstances, unlike a computer where it would be, it's very hard to imagine how you could possibly make, even if you could create a feeling inside of it, how you could make it coherent to what would be described as a self-interest. But through 500,000 years of evolution, building one little tinker toy at a time, biology did fall on it. Alright, so now for the idiot comments. So this got 2 pluses, and it's crap. I think the philosophical truth is that we're all, in a sense, nothing. Yeah, well, okay, so how is it? This is philosophical truth. So you're going to tell me a philosophical truth is, and you're going to use the word nothing. I mean, you could say we were cardboard. You could say we were fucking crepe paper. But to say we are nothing is just fucking stupid. I mean, why have the word nothing if you're going to turn it into, well, that includes all the something? Fuck. I mean, it's just garbage. It's just gibberish. However, knowledge varies by circumstances, whatever the fuck that means. Philosophy is knowing for the sake of knowing. Well, that's even stupid. In a sense, it's knowing for the sake of the truth, you could argue, because there's a truth out there, and it deserves respect. So that might be a good saker. And certainly there's a connection between knowing and proper functioning. Okay, the more you know, the more likely you are to avoid getting eaten by the Tyrannosaurus or some other kind of bullshit. So there is an intrinsic advantages to knowing, and that's what it's for the sake of advantages. And intelligence is related to knowing. Well, okay, that's the only thing you said that's even reasonable, but a 4-year-old could say that. We could say everything knows itself in its own function, and its own function. Well, this is just stupid. I mean, why are we talking about a brain full of hundreds of billions of cells and neurons, connections, and you're just going to discount their reality? Oh, I got it. Maintenance. Discount their reality. Just ignore the fact that something has hundreds of billions of connections. It has a CPU, and it has a hard drive, and it has memory. Ignore all that and just call the dishwasher a computer. Right? I mean, don't call the computer a computer. Call the computer a dishwasher, and call the dishwasher a computer. I mean, there's no point in this crap. I.e., everything is merely happening in the way it was constructed to happen. Yes, it's deterministic, okay, but it's just stupid to say that because it's a deterministic universe, everything is meat, or everything is pudding, or everything is marshmallow cream. It's not! Everything is one thing. Well, what's the point of having the word one and thing if you're going to do this kind of crap? I mean, you could argue that there's one game called chess, and then there's the chess game plays out, okay, by an ordered procedure of moves dictated by programming, by arrangement, by circumstance, and that will be the way the game plays out. There will be no alternative. It's a cascade of cause and effect on playing on both sides of the game board. The pieces are moved. But let's understand, there are pieces, there are moves, there are distinguishable differences between their function. I think that is logical. I think it's just mush. But, of course, how do we explain capricious movements by these things we call living? That is, if we are calling anything living. Oh, here we go again. So let's throw out another word. We've got a perfectly good word to describe things that are functioning DNA machines. Designed for replication in the environment. I mean, that's a quick, sloppy description of living. You're living if you are reproductively, if you are maintaining your composition in a biologically active state. Yeah, possessing either you are a DNA molecule surrounded by a cellular membrane that's engaged in energy transfer through the environment and therefore alive, or you're possessed by billions of those things and therefore alive. Also, the subjective experience, we are simply going to place it as non-existent or whatever. The subjective experience is another one of these dangerous type words. You could just say the human experience, the personal brain experience, but when you say subjective, you're implying a lot. You're implying, well, I'm just saying it's a stinking lousy rotten word. For we pretend as if this thing we are doing has meaning. For we pretend as if this thing we are doing has meaning. What am I doing with this? What sense does any of this make? Yeah, we're pretending we understand that it hurts like hell, that we are vulnerable to unpleasant sensation through the cause and effect that takes place in the world, which means that if I run somebody's kid over, it's going to fucking upset them. Yeah, duh. And I'm not pretending to know that. I do know that. Yet, if it is nothing, we ought to waste no time on it. So, I don't know how to do that sentence in any kind of rational way. For we pretend as if this thing we are doing has meaning, yet if it is nothing, we ought to waste no more time on it. Yeah, well, if it's nothing, it's a silly premise. It can't be nothing. It's impossible for it to be nothing, because it's right the fuck in front of you saying, I'm something, I'm something. I may be misunderstanding what you all mean by nothing. Well, I didn't say the word nothing. I'm not the one saying we're nothing. These guys are the ones saying we're nothing. So talk to them. Put this comment on their videos and ask them to explain to you what the fuck they mean when they say, my brain isn't my brain. It isn't in my head. It isn't in this body. And it isn't performing a conscious function designed and connected coherently to the functioning of this body. And if I can't say this body is a me or an I, then why don't we just throw out the whole fucking goddamn vocabulary? Why don't we just take the whole vocabulary and flush it down the toilet and just go ugh at each other? And that'd be okay with me, as long as we get rid of all the laws so I can just kill all you fuckers, because you're making me insane with this drivel. As a practical attitude towards life is such a position as everything is nothing. As a practical attitude towards life is such a position as everything is nothing, or I am nothing useful. Whether it's useful or not is irrelevant. The point is, there's no point in saying nothing. Come on, it's just stupid. It's stupid. I'm not gonna. Why should I have a fucking argument explaining that this is not nothing relative to everything we know nothing to be? Every description of nothing, this does not qualify. I mean, by every single description of nothing you could ever come up with, you could never fit this into it rationally, because it's quite obviously a something. Does it not contradict all the action we producing? Yes, it does. It contradicts everything. Alright, now this Quinta crap fucking cunt bastard rude motherfucking piece of shit. Yeah, fuck you. You really suck. You're a lousy, rotten, scummy piece of shit. You're rude, obnoxious fuckball. Anyway, shadows of determinism still clouding the issue of consciousness? Yeah, right. You take a handful of snow and pack it tight. You form a ball. You roll it down a hill. It rolls down the hill, picks up snow. Side of the hill is bumpy. The snow-covered ground is uneven. As perfectly formed snowball rolls down the hill, it gains mass but loses form. Well, guess what? It'll lose form because of gravity if it gets big enough. But, it does stay. It conforms it gets big enough, it conforms the environment. It starts flattening the environment. The enlarging snowball is no longer a perfect ball. Well, it never was a perfect ball. As it takes its form from the environment it traverses, and likewise it affects the environment, so this is all bullshit. Thereby shooting, here we go, thereby shooting your assertions of determinism to shit. So this guy says when a pool ball doesn't take a determined path, it just goes wherever the fuck it wants to. This is just nonsense. There's no atoms, there's no pieces of energy, there's no evidence of any of that ever doing anything beyond what we would call classically confined. There's no free in any of their actions. They will be cause and effect actions. That's determinism, asshole. If you believe in cause and effect, you believe in determinism. If you believe in some sort of uncaused cause or some random cause, truly random, happens somewhere, well, then you're an idiot. Because you have no evidence of that anywhere. Certainly no evidence to say things like this. The fact that it is that the environment is also a causal chain. Well, duh. Interwoven with several causal... Yeah, well, they're causal, asshole. You're admitting the truth right here. And as options and choices increase, well, these options and choices don't exist. So you idiots don't understand what choice is. You don't understand what options is. You don't understand what probability is. Probability is not a reality. Probability is a manifestation of ignorance. There is no probability. There's only unresolved variables. So when you are ignorant, you create probability, because that is the error rate of not knowing that variable. That's all probability is. Probability is knowing the error rate of not knowing a particular variable. You fucking idiot. You're too stupid to be this obnoxious. Predictable determinism decreases. Well, predictable, who even says this word in a conversation about determinism? We're not talking about whether you can predict it or you can't predict it. What we're talking about is theoretically whether it is predictable if you had enough knowledge. All right? That's all we're talking about. We're talking about whether it has a boundary of true randomness, true escape from the boundaries of cause and effect. Idiot. You can't even follow a simple conversation. This is philosophy 101, and you fucking fail, you obnoxious, rude, greasy, smelly pile of shit. And you can't claim absolute determinism over free will. And you can't claim, look at this, and you can't claim absolute determinism over free will. So now he's brought up free will. He's talking about a fucking snowball where he's wrong. There's no magic atoms. There's no magic energy bouncing somewhere. The snowball doesn't go faster or slower through magic. All right, it's all cause and effect, material reality. And now he's brought up free will. So he has given no evidence of anything free. Explain the word free, asshole. Go point to something. Show me something. Show me something and say free. Show me it. There's no such thing as free, you idiot. All there is lacks of prisons. There's lacks of restraint, relatively speaking. Something can be under less restraint. But there's no fucking free. You take me into outer space, I'm free of gravity. Okay? I'm not free of being a biological organism. I'm not free of my own material weight. I'm not free of all the other limitations that existed. I'm free of one limitation. Okay? There's no fucking such thing as free. All there is lesser or more substantial limitations. When you are woefully unable to predict the any and the all possible variables. Again, who is claiming an ability to predict variables? You know, the point is whether not whether we can now or whether we will be in the future. We have computer models now for the weather that are pretty reliable regarding tornadoes, hurricanes, a lot of physical phenomenon we can predict. I bet if somebody spent enough money studying snowballs, they could roll a snowball down a given slope and give you a pretty good definition of its likely outcome. Reduce the probabilities, substantially, to a narrower and narrower range through knowledge, idiot. And the fact that there's some limitations on what we can see, okay, when it comes to the smallest of the small in this universe, has nothing to do with you providing one shred of evidence that at any level of the universe there's anything called spontaneous. Not one fucking piece of evidence do you have, and yet you will sit there and obnoxiously tell other people they can't claim. You're the one who can't claim. Show me one piece of evidence for your God, you fucking miserable piece of goddamn shit, or shut the fuck up. I was hoping that you could figure that out on your own. Sad. Yeah, well, I was hoping you'd fucking goddamn fall in a goddamn hole in a predictable manner and break your fucking scurvy, lousy, crappy, obnoxious, rude fucking neck, you useless sack of fucking shit. Alright, I believe we're done now. Yeah. This is what you get for debate. This anonymous little freaking pussy who hides behind videos that are completely incomprehensible and unwatchable, saying absolutely nothing explicit, saying nothing that can even be reasonably quoted, yet he is obnoxious enough to be use this kind of rude ridicule. Fuck you. Grow a brain, make a rational argument. Now, don't bother doing any of that stuff. Just do something predictably disgusting, as is your nature, apparently. Your shitty, lousy, rotten, goddamn programming. You're not only a retarded human, you're a shitty ape, and you're a motherfucking scummy lizard. Every bit of you is a piece of crap. I don't know why the fuck. I mean, you know, you're a guest. I'm providing you exposure and an opportunity to voice your opinion, and you do it in this rude fucking manner. Go find a comment of mine on the fucking internet where I talk that kind of shit to people. Unless I'm absolutely motherfucking right, and you're absolutely motherfucking wrong. You made no argument demonstrating one shadow of one iota of fucking evidence of anything free, anything spontaneous, or anything demonstrating any doubt to the theory of determinism. Nothing. Not one shred of fucking evidence. You fucking douchebag. Alright. Now I'm done. Till next time.